By the Christmas tree. Oh, that's Christmas to me. Oh, that's Christmas to me.
Good and a pleasant it would be before the Almighty. This unification of all Africa.
The year is slowly creeping towards an end, and we're going to be soon welcoming the year 2025. I do hope that you've gotten all your goals accomplished for this year so far. Wishing you all the very best in 2025 as well. We want to say good night to all those of you listening, all those of you locked on. We appreciate those of you already on our system, already there. Good night to you guys. Thank you so very much for always keeping it locked on to our Let's Connect program. My name is Reniata De Souza. I am your host for this evening, and we will be joined by our virtual guest, Mr. Dominic Prospere from Force Jacques tonight. We're just waiting for him to log on. But in the meantime, in between time, we're going to be giving a shout out to all the various communities as we always do. We do hope that you guys are appreciating that we are giving you guys a shout out because we love you and we hope that you love us just the same way that we love you. So we want to shout out the community of Fort Saint Jacques in all its wonder and splendor. Good night to you, Fort Saint Jacques. Good night to you guys in Mocha, those of you in Mini, those of you in Esperance. Want to shout out Wavin Claire. If you are in Towai, good night to you. We want to shout out community of Belvedere, community of St. Philip. Good night to you in Boisden. Good night, good night. We want to come down to Crestland and Zeno. Good night to you guys. Hope that everybody is having a wonderful evening. So far, so good. We want to say good night to you. If you are in New Development, good night to New Development. Wonderful, wonderful night to you. In Palmis, those of you at Fort Beignet, good night as well. Good night to you. If you are in Crestland. Good night to Crestland. Good night to you in Sulphur Springs. Good night to Margaret Toot. Want to say good night to all the various communities in Soufriere Town. If you're at Wingsville, if you're on Boulevard Street, if you're on High Street, if you're on Church Street, good night, good night, good night. We want to say good night to those of you in Etongs, those of you in Diamond. Good night to Diamond. We want to say good night to Bouton as well. If you're at Fort Joli, Mon Lacroix, or Chateau Bel Air, special good night to you. We do hope that you're enjoying your evening so far. Once again, it is Tuesday, the 10th of December, 2024. And we look forward to having a wonderful program. We're hoping that you guys are going to be engaged with us throughout our program tonight. We want to see. Sorry about that. Just making sure our guest is getting himself situated. Like I said, he'll be joining us virtually. So we're trying to bring you a wonderful program tonight, and we hope that all will be well. So we want to give a shout out to all those of you who celebrated birthdays in the last week. We want to say good night to Miss Calixta Joseph, who celebrated her birthday recently. Also to Mr. Alvin Philip, better known as Pete Boyo. Good night to you. Hope that you enjoyed your birthday as well. We also had a birthday on the 7th. That was Mr. Vernon Montout. Good night to you, Mr. Montout. Hope that you enjoyed your birthday. I want to say a special shout out to Miss Sharon Montout, who is from Parliament Office. She celebrated her birthday as well this week. Today is a special, special birthday for Miss Anatalia Je Baptiste. So good night to you, Miss Anatalia. Hope that you have been enjoying your birthday. We want to say good night to those of you celebrating in the coming week. So on the 11th, we want to say happy advanced birthday greetings to Mr. Shem Jean. And on the 13th, we have Miss Lucia Hippolyte celebrating her birthday on National Day. And we want to say happy advanced birthday greetings to Miss Phaedra Brandis, who will be celebrating on the 14th. We do hope that you enjoy all of your birthday treats and your birthday cake. Make sure you eat your cake and celebrate. Pop that champagne. We're going to enjoy every birthday we have. You never know when it's going to be your last. And with that, we come to our unfortunately, death announcements. So once again, last time we did announce the death of Mary Paul, better known as Majirad of Soufriere. We want to once again wish condolences and sympathy greetings to her family, friends, and loved ones. We want to shout out the family of Miss Crescentia Esnad, family in Chateaubelair, including Miss Ingrid Alexander. So we want to send out our condolences to you. Those of you who are family and friends of Miss Elizabeth St. Bryce, who passed away in Sulphur Springs, we want to send out our condolences to you as well. We regret to announce the death of Mr. Augustine Annaville, who was also known as Agor or Go Kiliwu, who has passed. Condolences as well to his family and friends and loved ones. Also, we want to send a condolence greeting to Miss Serena, whose aunt has passed in Etongs, Miss Marjorie Hippolyte. Condolences to her family and friends as well. All right, I just need one moment. Like I said, we're checking in with our tech. We're going to shift back a little to some music while we try to sort out the internet situation and connectivity situation. Just give us one moment.
How do you expect them to love? The Rastafari in this time. I was the same old idea. Let's skip forward from Zion. Forward with the keys of the bottom wasted. And with a great chain in my arms. And I lay hold and Babylon go hold, oh, brother. And bounding for 10,000 years, even longer than that. For I lay hold and Babylon go hold, oh, brother. And bounding for 10,000 years. John said, they never love, they never love. The Lord now the prophet from such time. How do you expect them to love? I and I, the Rastafari in this time. Yeah, they never love, they never love. Ooh, the Lord now the prophet from such time. Then how do you expect them to love? The Rastafari in this time. Yeah. They never love, they never love. I and I, the Lord now the prophet from such time. God, how do you expect them to love? I and I, the Rastafari in this time. Yeah, rebellious nation never love the Lord now the prophet. Only no vanity and wrongs, yeah. How do you expect them to love? What the Rastafari in this time? Whoa. They never love, they never love. I and I, the Lord now the prophet from such time. Then how do you expect them to love? Guiltiness rest on their conscience. Oh yeah, oh yeah. And they live a life of false pretenses every day, each and every day. Hey, hey. Now these are the big fish, these are the big fish who always try to eat down the small fish. Yes, the small fish. Hey. And they would do anything, they would do anything to materialize their every wish. Ooh, yeah, 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 yeah.
All right, I do appreciate you guys being patient with us. Like I said, we're just trying to make sure our guest gets on all right. So once again, good evening to everybody. Want to shout out those of you who are already on the chat live. Thank you so very much, Miss Emmanuel, for tuning in to Let's Connect from Brooklyn. We appreciate you so very much for that. Good night to you, Mr. Joseph Saltibus. Appreciate you as well. We want to say good night to Miss Phaedra Brandis. I hope that you heard your birthday request, your birthday greeting. Do hope that you're going to be celebrating a wonderful birthday on the 14th. Good night to you, Mrs. Joan Hippolyte. She said condolences to Matthew Nelson on the passing of his sister Michelle. That's right. I did forgot to write that one down. It was on my mind. I did speak to Matthew today. We want to send condolences to the entire Nelson family of Market Road and Lenny's Hill in relation to the passing of Michelle. She was very much loved by the entire community. We do send our deepest condolences to the family. Good night to you, Miss Classy Willow Prospect. Good night to you. Miss Calixta Joseph said, good evening, everyone. Thanks for the birthday wishes, and she appreciates it. It is our pleasure, Miss Calixta. And also, she sends her sincere condolences to those who have lost loved ones. And she hopes that God grants them the strength that they need at this time. I want to echo those sentiments. We do hope that God will give you an ease of the grief, because right now it cannot be easy. Sudden death and losing a loved one dearest to you, we do understand how that can be. We have all dealt with that, so we do ask that everybody has some empathy in relation to families who are currently grieving. Good night to you as well, Miss Cheryl William. Thanks for joining us on our Let's Connect program. Tonight we will be having with us very, very soon as our tech is working on the situation. So we'll be up and running very soon. So we want to say that we will be having Mr. Dominic Prospere, who is the person in charge of the registration office, which has been opened in Soufriere. We're going to talk tonight about what services they afford us and how long they'll be open and how long we can access those services for, what services we'll be able to access there, what days, what times, and also what fees we would need to pay or any sort of requirements that we need for accessing those services. So that is what we hope to bring to you tonight. Like we always say, Let's Connect is here to help us reach out to the community in the various ways. We want to remind everyone that the Soufriere Christmas Village will be happening on December 15th at the Soufriere Square, starting from 4 p.m. We invite everybody to come out and celebrate with us. The tree will be lit. There will be performances by the various school choirs, and we hope that you all are going to be enthralled by what the wonderful presentations. So the SRDF, Soufriere Regional Development Foundation, is in collaboration with partners Bank of St. Lucia and Coca-Cola for this year's Christmas Village 2024. So right. So we want to also remind everybody that Christmas with the Stars is going on at 3 p.m. every day. So you can call in and have the opportunity to win some wonderful, wonderful prizes. I do believe today somebody won a special dinner which is happening on National Day from Ladera. So if you tune into SRDF's programming, you will get opportunities to win wonderful, wonderful prizes. This past week, Thursday, we had the Soufriere Comprehensive Secondary School's Miss Kaleidoscope pageant. We want to congratulate all the participants on a job well done. And we hope that our reigning queen enjoys her next year of Miss Kaleidoscope royalty. We want to wish all the very best to SSDF, sorry, SCSS in all their endeavors and all their wonderful programs that they have coming up. All right. So like I said, we're just hoping that we get connected soon. We have been experiencing some technical difficulties with the internet. From what I can see, I think he is logging on. So we should have Mr. Prospere with us very shortly, very shortly. We appreciate everybody's patience. Good night to you, Mr. Anthony Mondesi. Thank you very much for watching our Let's Connect program and keeping it locked with us every Tuesday. So we do appreciate you all for your patience tonight. We're getting there. We're getting there. So I can see that he's on, but we're not seeing him as yet. His visual is not on as yet. So let's just give him a few more minutes. So we want to also remind persons who have been selected to attend the Youth Investment Forum that we will be having a bus leaving Soufriere 6 a.m. on Thursday to get to Harbor Club for 9 or for 8:30 because we're trying to win the early bird prize. But reminder that that is happening. Youth Investment Forum is happening on Thursday. So if you were one of those who registered for it and who confirmed your attendance, all right, I think I am back on screen. That's wonderful. So let us hope that Mr. Prosper will be joining us as well on screen. All right, something's happening. Something's happening. Thank you so very much to those of you who are on right now and bearing patience with us. Yes, Miss Calixter, there's no manners from Flo tonight. Flo is not flowing. All right, so Flo is trying to disrupt the program, but we're adamant that we are going to be bringing to you a wonderful program, very informative. Good night, Mr. Prosper. Are you out? Do we have you? I'm not. We cannot see you, but hopefully we can hear you. Can you hear me? Okay. Like I said, we've been being patient. Everybody keep your fingers crossed. Send up a little prayer. All right. Good night to Miss Andy Donai or Mr. Andy Donai. I'm not too sure. I cannot see the photo clearly. Uh, Andy Donai, good night to you. Thanks for listening to the program. Bonsoir, bonsoir. All right. Wonderful to have you with us. Those of you who are on our live, thank you so very much for joining us. All right. Thank you. Compliments of the season to you as well. Wonderful, wonderful. Not sure if Mr. Prosper can hear us or if he can speak so that we might hear him. I can see the tech is doing his due diligence on his end, and we're trying to make it happen. Oh, that is so sweet of you. Mr. Joseph Saltiba said that it's the best show in town, so they're waiting. I appreciate that. I love that. You're going to make me cry. That was such a wonderful sentiment. So very much appreciated, sir. Thank you. I love that about you, and I love you for that. Thank you so very much. I love my wonderful Let's Connect audience. On a Tuesday, I look forward to seeing your comments. You guys are always so engaged. I love that so very much. And I cannot wait for the Christmas season so that we can somehow give back something to you guys. We're going to be hopefully bringing on our district rep next week. I'm keeping my fingers crossed that she'll be able to make our Let's Connect next week, just before the Christmas, so she can let us know what she's going to be doing for the season. We always look forward to hearing more from our Honorable Emma Hippolyte. Let's see if we can get Mr. Prosper. Good night, Mr. Prosper. I can see that he's logged on, people. Everybody, I'm just letting you, he's there, but we cannot see him and I cannot hear him as yet. So we're just hoping that it's just the lagging internet that's causing the issue. So let's see if that's going to. Hmm. Okay, so I think we're going to be trying to switch to making it into a phone call. All right, let's see how that's going to work.
Equal rights. We want to be free and have equal rights. We want to be free and have equal rights. We want to be free and have equal rights.
mommy protected me and my little nephew when she got vaccinated.
My doctor is protecting me. She's vaccinated.
My aunt protected me when she got vaccinated.
COVID-19 vaccines are available for people from the age of 12 years and older. Being vaccinated against the virus does not only protect you, it also makes our country safer for those who cannot receive the vaccine.
Vaccinate for you, for yours, for us.
Welcome to Youth Voices with your host, Miss Edissa Eugene, where we focus on youth advocacy, youth empowerment in academics, entrepreneurship, sports, marginalized youth, and more.
88.5 Soufriere FM presents Let's Connect every Tuesday from 5:30 p.m. with your host, Reniata D'Souza. Also live on Facebook. Be sure to tune in as we present you with updates on local activities, events, businesses,
The 7 a.m. news package, a breath of fresh air, a buzz in the morning. What better way to start off? Giving you details of what is happening, not just only in Soufriere, but beyond current affairs. You could be heading to work, children going to school, and I think definitely having this presented to you in the morning will definitely be a buzz to start off your day. Covering the southwestern region like never before. I am Kabrina Epifan, and these are your headlines.
I go by the name of Miguel Daisy. Stage name, Energy Buzz, radio name as well. What is different about my show is that it is full of energy, like my name says it all. Full of vibes. My show basically starts from 2 to 6 on a daily, Monday to Friday, Saturdays, weekly 2 to 6. It's called the Energy Drive. What it entails is like I like to introduce people to new music. I like to educate them on the artists as well, what's new, what's trending in the musical industry. Right now we're 12 years in the making, and we as a team look to get bigger and stronger. I've just been doing music my entire life. I don't know anything else but music. So I could say music saved my life as well. So tune in to Soufriere FM every single week.
The Community Policing Unit of the Royal St. Lucia Police Force, along with the St. Lucia Solid Waste Management.
All right, so let's see if we got this right. Good night to you, Mr. Prospere. Mr. Prospere?
Yes, hello. Hi, good night, Miss D'Souza.
All right, so we're just trying to make sure that everybody can hear you. So I'm just going to ask our audience to tell me if they can hear clearly. Audience, those of you who are on the Facebook Live, we should have Mr. Prospere here, only audio, unfortunately. So let me know if you can hear him clearly, please. Mr. Prospere, go ahead and say good night to our lovely listeners.
Hi, good night, everyone. I hope you can hear me clearly. It's a wonderful opportunity to talk to you and to share the information that I think everybody is eager to hear.
All right, so let's see if we're going to get any comments saying that we're not hearing, but I do believe everybody is hearing us. So good night once again to everybody listening. Shout out to Force Jack tonight. And we have our guest from Force Jack tonight, Mr. Dominic Prospere, finally in the house. We've been able to battle through our technical difficulties, and we are here, we are present, and we are ready to get started with tonight's interview. Hold on, DJ. Sorry, we're a little... Right. Okay. Great. Mr. Prospect, good night to you once again. Thank you so very much for joining us. And we do appreciate you going through this little struggle with us tonight to get on. It shows your commitment to being on the program, and we appreciate you for that.
Thank you.
Sorry about that. We're getting a lot of background stuff going on here in here. Okay, awesome. So the registration office, I hope I called it the right name, or is it part of the a sub office of the electoral department? Is it called the
Yes,
electoral office?
that's exactly what it is.
A sub office of the electoral department?
Of the electoral department, yes.
Awesome. So do we just say sub office?
Well, we can say that by once they understand, but this is the Soufriere sub-office.
Soufriere sub office. Awesome. So can you tell us where exactly is the Soufriere sub office located?
The office is located, well, for those of us who can remember some 4 years ago, the same location where it was on Church Street, number 9 Church Street in the blue building next to Wasco.
Awesome. So right next to Wasco, not across the road from Wasco, but next to Wasco. That's where Universal Church was, right?
Exactly.
Awesome. So in the former Universal Church location next to Wasco on Lower Church Street, so number 9 Church Street, this is where you're going to find the Soufriere sub office or registration office, sub office of the electoral department. So we do know that location. Everybody should be familiar with it because everybody goes to pay their water bill, I'm assuming. So that they should know where Wasco is located and how to find Wasco in Soufriere. So the Soufriere sub office located next door to Wasco on number 9 Church Street. This office, what is its purpose exactly? Can you tell us?
Well, according to the electoral registration act, there is something in place every so many years to ensure that the services of the providing of ID cards to nationals. So it is a recurring thing that has been happening over the years. So you can come in to this office and you'll be able to renew your ID card if for some reason it has expired or will soon be expired. You can get, for those persons, new registrants who have never had a national ID card, they can come in and get that service as well. We have persons who are not yet eligible to be electors, but that is they're under 18, but they're able to come in and get a national ID card. That is those between the ages of 16 and 18. They would get this card, but they would not find themselves on the electoral list when that list is prepared. You also have persons who may have changed their addresses for one reason or the other. It could be within the electoral district or from one district to another. So someone who was, for example, residing in Castries but has now taken up residence in Soufriere. Maybe they got married to somebody in Soufriere and have now become Soufriere resident and would like to have this reflected on their ID card, they could do that. Persons who have changed their names, whether it be through marriage or other purposes, they can come and get the card, make the adjustments to that card as well.
Okay, awesome. Great, great. So let's
Oh,
start
well,
from the
I also, yes, I was saying I also forget for those persons who have lost their ID cards, okay, they can come in and there's a procedure for that. Or those who have for some reason, the ID card is defaced and you cannot get to see the face or the other information that is included on the card. So they can come in and get the ID card renewed.
Okay, awesome, awesome. What are the operating hours for the sub office?
Beg your pardon?
Operating hours for the sub office, are we open every day, Monday to Friday, or is it just Monday, Wednesday, Friday? What are the operating hours?
Okay, we are opened from 9 o'clock Monday to Friday, and we close at 5.
Okay, so 9 to 5, Monday to
There,
Friday.
yes, there may be changes depending on how things go, but as soon as these things are formalized, folks will be informed.
All right. So let us go back to the services and let's take a look at the requirements for each of those services. So you said that persons between the age of 16 to 18 can get a national ID card. That's the ones that will have no registration number. It will just have a series of zeros in the back.
Right.
What would they need to bring with them to get that done?
Okay. These are what we call the non-elector ID cards.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, but the procedure would be similar to someone getting the what we would call the normal ID. Okay, so they would need to come in with a letter from NIC. That means the NIC would give them a number, and that would become the NIC number.
Right.
They also would need to come in with their birth certificate, not the birth and baptismal, but the birth certificate, the long one.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, they would need to come with that, and there is a fee of $20 that comes with that as well.
Okay. So $20, the
Yeah,
letter from NIC, and their birth certificate.
and their birth certificate.
Okay.
If for some reason we have to verify their address, because sometimes you may get people who not necessarily from Soufriere or even from Soufriere, and the folks in there do not know them well enough. They may ask for something to make sure that that address that they are presenting is correct.
So that could take the form of a utility bill or maybe a document signed by a JP.
Yeah, well, in a case like that, I guess these individuals being under 18 may not have a utility bill in their name, right? But if they do, then a lot easier. But if they don't, they will not, and it's their parents for something, so they could have that, and with a document signed by the parent in the presence of a GP to ensure that this is up.
Okay. All right. Great. So for persons who have turned 18 and are eligible for registration for the electoral process, they can work with the same documents, birth certificate and NIC
Yes,
letter.
yes.
And would it be the same fee of $20 or is there a different fee?
No, anything for new registrant, there is no fee.
Okay. So 18, new registrant, first time getting your
Yes,
ID, there's no fee.
there is no fee. But you need to come with the birth certificate, the letter from NIC, and in cases where there have been changes to the information on the birth certificate, whether it be through a deed poll, citizenship information, like somebody who is of the Commonwealth and has been living in St. Lucia for over 7 years, that person is entitled to get a national ID card,
Okay. So
right? So
somebody
you
from,
would see,
when you
although
say
they
somebody
have a,
from the Commonwealth, what exactly does that mean?
okay, we're talking of so-called British citizens, if we should use that general term,
Mm-hmm.
right? Places, well, we have issues now with some countries becoming republic, and I don't think the act have actually made provisions for this. But there is, if say somebody is from Dominica, for example, right, and they are living, not Dominica, because Dominica has gone republic as well.
Okay.
St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Grenada,
Mm-hmm.
so they can come in with whatever documents that they have. Okay. If the person is St. Lucian by a virtue of marriage and so forth, and there may have been a change of name other than what is on the birth certificate, then they would need to come in with the marriage certificate as well.
Okay.
Okay. One other thing with that too is if the changes of the name may have come as a result of adoption,
Mm-hmm.
that would not show on the birth certificate.
Mm-hmm.
So they would need to come with that certificate of adoption.
Okay.
So we can make sure that this is the right name. Because once that ID card is issued, it becomes a legal document.
Okay.
And therefore, we have to ensure that the information is there, is accurate.
Understood. We have a couple questions in the chat, but I think we'll go through all the different requirements before we come back to those questions. So we've
Yep.
touched on under 16, or rather I should say 16 to 18 and 18-year-old first time getting their ID cards, and persons who have either been adopted or naturalized or are members of the Commonwealth but living in St. Lucia for 7 years. All right. So what about the lost ID card? If you've lost it, or if it has been, like you said, defaced, or it's no longer usable, you cannot see the information on it, what do you have to do in those instances?
Okay. If you've had an ID, which means that all your information would be on the system. And that is why it is important that you have all the correct information and the original copies of these documents. Okay. We don't come with a photocopy of your birth certificate or whatever. You need to come with the original, and all that would be scanned into the system. Okay? So let us look at the lost ID. Somebody who have lost their IDs would come into the office and sign what we call a statutory declaration form. That form would be issued by the office, and when it is completed, you have to affix a $5 stamp onto that document and 2 passport size pictures. The statutory document has to be signed by the Justice of the Peace or a notary royal. Your birth certificate and the letter from NIC to ensure that everything is in keeping with what we have on record, and a $100 fee that has to be paid to the Treasury or the Soufriere sub-office. And that would take care of your ID. Once you've done that, then the process, and within 1 week, 5 to 7 days, unless there is some other challenge, your ID card should be ready and would be collected at the Soufriere sub-office.
Okay, so let's go over that one more time for persons who need clarification. So for the lost ID, that's for a lost ID, you need to sign a statutory declaration and affix a $5 stamp, which you can get from the post office in Soufriere. And it must be signed by a JP or notary royal.
Very correct.
Right. So you bring in that
and
document.
And the 2 passport size pictures.
And 2 passport size photos and $100.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, the $100 is not paid to us.
It's paid to the Treasury at the post office.
Yes.
Okay, so
that is what it is.
So that's the process for lost ID.
Yes.
Okay. So those persons who defaced, yes. If like, for example, I've seen some that have peeled, some that have gotten water damage, some that have gotten faded. So those persons who still have those IDs in their hand, but they're not usable, what's the process to get it replaced?
Yes. This is going to cost $30. $30. $30. But so there is no need for the pardon?
$30 paid to Treasury?
Yes, that is paid to Treasury, because the department will be handling no monies in that office.
Okay. Understood. So you go to Treasury, you pay the $30, and you come with the old ID, and you get it gets
But you
released.
you first come to the office,
Hmm.
and I would suggest before anybody does anything that they come
Come
to
to the office
ensure.
first to verify what they need to do.
Yes,
Hmm.
exactly. And if the monies, whatever money that is to be paid, a form would be completed by one of the attendants at the office, and they will give you this thing to take to the sub collector's office to pay the money.
Okay. All right. So, change of name and married persons, that sort of thing. If that still have their old ID, do they have to pay $40 or?
Yeah. For change of name, yes, there is a fee to that, which is $40.
Mhm.
But you would also need to bring other information, all right? Because if you have changed your name, we need to ensure that whatever change that you're saying that is done, that you have a document to support.
Okay.
Okay.
So, but like you
So
said, we would advise persons to come in to the office first to ask the questions to make sure that they get the right information.
yes, they get the right information. So
Okay.
things like your birth certificate, because sometimes people have had birth certificates and then there are errors. They have to make sure that they get this thing done properly.
Mhm.
For people who are changing because of marriage, would need to come in with their marriage certificate. Um, if they were divorced, then they would need to come with the decree absolute to ensure that, again, that the documents is in keeping with the regulations.
Mhm. Okay. All right. I think we covered the various ways you could have a different ID. I think we've covered so marriage, change of name, adoption, naturalization, lost ID, defaced ID, first time getting your ID, and if you're below from between the age of 16 and 18. All
Yes,
right.
between 16 and 18, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So one of the first questions we have in our Facebook Live chat, in regards to the $20 for the ID for the 16 to 18-year olds, what is the purpose of the fee since they don't have to pay at 18?
That is not for I don't think this is I am just in this case
The
the servant.
facilitator. You don't know why.
Yeah. No, but I think there are all the fees are speculated actually list in the Education Act that deals specific to this. So it's not something that people just at the top of their head.
Mhm.
Um, but it is a service that you've been provided. Um, pro, that is being provided to you, and I guess it comes at a cost.
Okay.
If you come in as an adult, 18 years, then you don't have to worry about it.
Okay.
But I would tell people, when you think of now to open an account,
You need an
you
ID.
need
Because I was
you
about
need
to
an
say that
ID.
there are persons who are between the age of 16 and 18 who require ID for bank transactions. So it would be good that they can get
Exactly,
that ID done.
they can get that, and I think considering the ease of doing business that an ID facilitates, I think $40 is not much money, to enable this kind of thing.
Mhm, mhm. I agree with you on that. Relatively compared to like for example the fee for the lost ID which at $100, $20 or
Yeah.
$40 on a $5 stamp here or there is not as extensive or excruciating something to damage your pocket too much. So it's not that bad. So, but like you said, for
Yeah,
ease of
I
doing
mean,
business, I would definitely
yeah.
recommend for 16 to 18-year-olds to definitely take the opportunity and get that ID done. So, we have one another question. I can answer this one. Is this done in Soufriere? Yes, this is being done in Soufriere. This is being done at the electoral sub office, which is located next to Wasco Soufriere on Lower Church Street. So the building is number 9 Church Street. This is where the registration office is located, formerly where Universal Church was located. If you're aware of either where Wasco Soufriere is located or Universal Church was located, you should be able to locate the sub office in Soufriere. All right, we have another question. Can a family member get an ID done for somebody who is out of the island? How can this be facilitated?
Now, the person has to be present, okay? Because you take information, like not just with the documents, but the individual would, for those of us who have done this process, gone through that process before, there's the fingerprinting that comes with it, and also the capturing of the photo.
Right, because the
If
photo
the
is being
person
done
is
on
not there,
site.
then the photo cannot be captured.
Okay,
Yes.
so
So the
definitely
person
that's
must
not
present
something that can
himself
be
or
done.
herself. Yeah.
All right. Somebody's asking about renewals. I'm not Mr. Mangal. The question, I'm not too sure if you're talking about if your ID is expired. I think that's what he's referring to. Yes. What are the requirements for renewing an expired ID?
In terms of IDs, the only thing that would change it would be the date. You know, if nothing else changes, all they would do is to update your photo. You know, over time, people features change,
Right.
so you want to ensure that whatever image is there is a true representation of the person presenting the card. So that is why you now have to go and present yourself, take the photo.
Okay, understood. All right, I see another person. Miss Alain was asking that question as well. The requirements for renewing an expired ID. So you don't have to pay any
Yes.
money for the renewal. It's just a matter
No,
of changing
there's
your
no.
photo, probably.
Yes, but again, there have been, and I have seen over the years that I've been involved, that some people, the ID, the number, the NIC number, sorry, change. Changes because the problem is not with electoral, but the problem could be with NIC. The folks sometimes when they give out the numbers, because you may get two people with the same names, and they can, you know, erroneously give someone that NIC of that individual. So you have to make sure that this is rectified.
Okay, all right,
So if you
understood.
go to NIC, you get your document, because you don't want to come and then have to be sent back after you have waited in line. But if you come in and you double check with our people, I think they're well trained and they will give you all the information that you require.
Okay, great. We do appreciate that, and I do hope those persons who were posting the questions got all the answers that they were looking for. If there's anybody who has any further questions, please do not hesitate to send it in our Facebook live chat. We want to shout out those persons who came in while we were fumbling with our technical difficulties. So I want to say good night to Peter Montague. Good night, Adelta Bowens from St. Vincent. Thank you for being locked onto our program. Good night to you. Good night to you, Miss Camilla Jean. Good night to you, Miss Deborah Joseph. Good night to Lidwinas Gassi. Lidwinas Gassi. Good night to you, Mr. Conrad. Thank you so very much for joining us on our program. We want to say good night to our persons in the names of Last Lap and Jewel did. I'm going to butcher that name. I'm sorry, Jewel. So Jewel and Bob Mangal. Good night to you as well, Miss Sabina Ale and Marcella Senjus. So we want to say good night to you as well. We have another question. Must an adult be present with the 16-year-old who wishes to apply for their ID?
This would be the ideal situation. Yeah, but there are cases where the individual could come in because there's for the legal aspect of it, an individual at the age of 16 can transact certain businesses. Okay, but yes, it's not a must. We would say it is the ideal situation if the person comes with an adult.
Especially if they have to verify address, I suppose.
Yeah, exactly. So if you know, and the adult would most likely have information on the system, so they could double check that this is a genuine.
Okay. Next question. If someone is bedridden, how can they get their ID done?
This is there. There was a plan 5 years ago um, to have a roving team, but this never really got off the ground. I know as we speak, there is some deliberation going on in terms of getting cameras out to provide that service. But there's also something else where the department, well, not in Soufriere, you'd have to go to head office, can provide not an ID, but what we call a letter of identity. So the department would go into their records and get whatever. If these individuals have had an ID before, that even those from way back when, they can use that based on their record and give a document.
Okay. All right.
And that is also very helpful, like for some people who after they've died, they people come looking for document, they cannot find an ID, they can go to the main office in Castries and they can help. But that comes at a fee of $15. But it is only at the head office that it can be processed.
I have a in relation to the question regarding a family member getting an ID done for somebody. If that individual's ID is just being renewed, does the person have to be there present? Just so, let's say for example my sister is overseas and her ID card is expiring. Is it possible that I can just come in to renew it on her behalf without her having to be there present, since it's not a new ID or a lost ID?
Yeah, but you will not be able to provide an image because in the ID, the image of the individual is on that ID. So if the person has not presented himself or herself, you're unable to capture that image.
Okay, I understand, because
Okay,
if the person might
and
look different, so you need the updated
exactly. Oh,
image.
and I'm saying that's why they give that limit of 10 years because in 10 years, people features most likely would change and sometimes quite a bit. And we have seen that among our own people. Okay. There's also another feature that's on the ID card. There's the ghost image of the individual. I don't know whether we have realized that.
I
And
don't think many
that is a
persons have
safety
noticed that
feature.
there's that it's almost like a holographic image on the ID.
Exactly. I see. Yeah, that's what it is, right? A holographic image. So some people have tried forging, this kind of documents. And if you realize the features on that, like the coat of arms, that's one of the features. That holographic image, the birth date of the individual, and the back of the ID. All these digits there represent information about the individual. Okay, so the person who is under 18 would not get a registration number. That's why you see the zeros. Okay. But as soon as the person gets the registration number, you will get the first six digits would be the person's registration number. That is the one used for voting, and some other characters behind that is only for that individual. So that's why it makes it very difficult for people to go and replicate that document.
Okay, definitely understood. We appreciate that information. I do hope that everybody got their questions answered. If there's any further questions, we have about 5 minutes left on the program where we can try to answer as many as we can. But in the meantime, let me shout out Marcelina Maslin. Good night to you. And also Mr. Bernard Haynes. Good night to you. Thank you for joining us on our program. Yes, Miss Calixter, the person's signature also would have to be on the ID. So it's also your signature, your photo, and the fingerprint. So these are all the reasons why the individual has to be present in order to be able to do the ID, because those are some of the features that has to be there: their signature, their fingerprint, as well as their signature on the ID card. So we do hope that everybody got their questions. I have not seen any new questions pop up. If I missed any question, please let me know. We also wanted to find out, I don't know if you'll be able to tell us that, Mr. Prosper, but is there a set time, as in, will this office only be operational for 6 months? Will it be only for a year? Or is that something that you'll not be able to disclose at this time?
Well, all I can say is that it is not just for this month. Um, it is it will last go into next year. It may last for the entire 2025, but it should, for example, there is a snap election, then the process would have to stop a certain period before the election so that the processing of the electoral list and so forth can take place. Okay,
Understood.
but we're not in. I am not in a position to tell you, well, it will be there for 6 months, so forth.
Okay.
All right. But what I can say for people of Soufriere, the same way Viewfort has a permanent um, sub office, maybe we in Soufriere can begin to agitate for that service, considering the cost, yeah, of transport and time. Sometimes you have to take a whole day to go up there, just to get your ID card renewed, well, or go down to Viewfort. Whereas if it is in your backyard, then it becomes a lot easier for you.
Agreed, 100%. So we will definitely ask that question, whether or not whether we maybe can have to sign a petition or something, or maybe when there is a administrative building, which hopefully will be coming soon, that we can agitate that we have a permanent sub office from the electoral department in Soufriere, because it does not just benefit Soufriere, it benefits Choiseul and Conneries as well. So we can definitely make that something that can happen in the near future. Until then, we urge persons who are able to take advantage of this opportunity while it is here. So while we have the sub office, please take advantage, get your ID cards renewed. If you're a new person at 18, new adult at 18, you can go and get your ID cards done. If you're 16 to 18, you can also get yourself an ID card for the cost of $20. And we urge parents to ensure that try to accompany your young person to get that done. So if there's anything they need, that you can help to provide it. And we want to thank Mr. Dominic Prospere so very much for coming on to the program tonight to explain the services available at the registration office located next to Wasco Soufriere on Lower Church Street. We urge persons to get your documents in order. If you don't have a birth certificate and you need to get working on that, do that now so that you can get ready to get your ID card done while the office is open. All right. So good night to all those of you who are present on our Let's Connect live chat platform. Thank you so very much for being here with us. Thank you once again to Mr. Prosper. If you have any last words or any shout outs that you'd like to give out while you're on air, feel free to do so.
Yes. I just want to mention there's something called an express ID card. That is if you want this thing within a shorter space of time, but it comes at a fee, and you would have to collect that. So it can be processed in Soufriere. There's a fee of $50, and you can go to Castries and pick it up on the same day.
Wow.
Yeah, so somebody who probably needs to travel and go, overseas.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yes. Just we have a little setback. So if you come to say tomorrow, God willing, um, we may not be able to process, because we have some issues with flow on the internet.
As we had
Everything is in
tonight.
place except that.
It's not
Okay.
our fault. Flow
So
was
it
flowing.
is
It's not our
something that
fault.
you understand. I'm not blaming anybody, but some people would say, "Depuis c'est Soufriere." Yeah, it is something that is happening live.
Yes.
So as soon as your photo is captured, it goes onto the system. The people in Castries can see it right away. Your signature is captured right away. So you need to have that connection. And also you want to make sure that the information that you have on your system matches what the person is presenting. Because again, as I said, this is a legal document, so you want to make sure that all the information in there is accurate. There is also something else that we do to assist the elderly, those persons that probably have lost their vision, or because they have trembling hands, they might not be able to sign if they go to the bank or do other things like that. The ID can be modified to indicate that these people are not required to sign.
I've seen some ideas that say
Okay,
that.
so
Yes.
yes, so with that, they can now go to the bank, and these people, they would be able to deal with them, because whether it be through visual or other means, they are unable to sign the stuff.
Okay. Thank you so very
Okay.
much, Mr. Prosper. This has definitely been a very informative program. I appreciate you coming on and staying on with us despite the difficulties. And we appreciate all the information that you presented. And I hope that persons take advantage.
Good night. Thanks for having me.